Hi, ArcfieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Tuesday morning, December the 5th. We have a big storm system will impact the west coast of the U.S. from Northern California all the way up through Oregon and Washington over the next 24 to 48 hours or so. A lot of heavy rainfall along coastal sections and some accumulating snow in those higher elevation interior locations, again, from Northern California all the way up to the Canadian border region. And this upcoming weekend will feature a major storm system that will have a big impact on much of the eastern half of the nation, including the possibility of some severe weather down in the deep south, heavy rain, strong winds along the eastern seaboard later Sunday into Sunday night, maybe even some strong thunderstorms along the east coast as well, and inland to the north and west of the surface low, significant accumulating snow is a possibility from places like the middle Mississippi Valley to the eastern Great Lakes, Michigan, Illinois. Possibility of some significant snow. We'll kind of focus in on that threat over the next few minutes. However, at the beginning here, I wanted to revisit El Nino. This is, of course, a key factor to our winter outlook. By the way, you can go back and get the winter outlook from Arcfield Weather right on the website, the homepage. Go to the seasonal outlooks file menu and choose the winter outlooks. We expect not only El Nino to continue into the winter season, but a couple of important factors. It should tend to weaken during the latter part of the winter season, and it should shift to more of a centrally based El Nino. And that is a key because that allows colder air masses to make their way all the way into the eastern and southern U.S. From Canada. And indeed, I expect a colder than normal winter in the eastern U.S. And the southern U.S. and more snow than normal in that part of the nation. Here's the latest look at the actual sea surface temperature anomalies here. This is the west coast of South America right here. All the red right in this region, right along the equator, is our El Nino, our warmer than normal conditions. Kind of a hybrid right now. It's not really eastern based or centrally based. It's pretty uniform in terms of the anomaly, in terms of the temperatures relative to normal. Again, expect this to start to kind of tone down a little bit here relative to normal. And out here in the central part of the Pacific Ocean, it'll actually become warmer relative to normal than the eastern part of this El Nino. Again, that's important because if you have the El Nino kind of centrally located, central part of the tropical Pacific, that allows for cold air masses to make their way more easily into the central and eastern U.S. Again, expecting a colder than normal winter in much of the eastern half of the nation because of this expectation of more of a centrally based El Nino. Now, let me clear the deck here and just kind of go through one other interesting factor here that we'll look at in a moment. One way meteorologists track the temperature pattern for an El Nino is kind of to divide it into sections. This particular section, roughly out in this region, is known as section 3.4. The section right here along the west coast of South America is known as 1+2. Let's take a look at what's going on in those particular sections. Again, 1+2 is the eastern-based part of the El Nino, and the central-based 3.4. Well, here are the actual temperatures right now in that centrally-based part of the El Nino in the Pacific Ocean. 3.4 right here. Notice around plus 1.5. Kind of been leveling off here at 1.5 right here. This is the actual current sea surface temperature anomaly in the middle part of the Pacific Ocean. Now, let's clear the page here and we'll compare it to the eastern section. Here we go. Look at that. It's really dropping in terms of the temperature pattern relative to normal. So this is the area right off the west coast of South America, what we call 1+2, really dropping already down to just under +1. So that in the eastern part of the Pacific Ocean compares to this right now. This is leveled off at around 1.5 above normal. Meanwhile, this is dropping now just below 1.0 above normal. So again, that's kind of suggesting we may be shifting from more of an eastern base to a more centrally based El Nino, right in our expectations right now. This is the temperature change over the last 7 days. It's just the last week or so, but kind of an interesting development right here. You notice a big drop off in temperatures here. Again, this is the change over the last 7 days, dropping off more dramatically in the eastern part of the Pacific Ocean as compared to out the central part. So again, we just saw that with that trend in the temperatures kind of dropping off significantly, and this is reflected here in this kind of a map here over the last 7 days. And we'll, of course, continue to monitor this over the next few weeks, leading right into the winter season. Well, let's get back to the continental U.S. and walk through last night's conventional run of the Canadian model here. We have a Clipper system right now dropping through the Midwest, relatively weak, and doesn't have a heck of a lot of moisture associated with it, which is rather typical of Clipper systems. Once in a while, they'll have a significant amount of moisture, and certainly they can extract a lot of moisture off the western Atlantic Ocean if they deepen enough at this particular location. And this does in fact drop to the south and east and ends up being quite a decent storm, but it's pretty far to the south and east, and instead of moving up the coast, it moves out to sea. But we also mentioned up front here, a strong storm system now starting to impact Washington and Oregon, and that'll slide all the way down the coast, impacting Northern California over the next 24 hours or so. So let's move forward here. First of all, Clipper system moves into the Ohio Valley by this evening with some snow and rain in the Ohio Valley. Could even be some small accumulations, and that surface low kind of jumps from the upper Midwest to the Carolina coastline over the next 6 to 12 hours or so. Meanwhile, a lot of significant rain now sliding south and east. And here we go into the early morning hours of Wednesday. Again, a pretty decent storm system, but it's out over the western Atlantic and is not riding up along the eastern seaboard, rather moving more east to northeast. Certainly can be a little bit of snow or rain anywhere in the mid-Atlantic region later tonight into tomorrow, including D.C. They could see some snowflakes out of this, perhaps up in the Philadelphia and New York City metro areas as well. Perhaps a better chance, though, south of the Mason-Dixon line of seeing that little bit of precipitation. Meanwhile, the rain out west starting to slide into Northern California by later tomorrow. This is the forecast map for Wednesday evening. On the heels of this intensifying storm system over the western Atlantic, the winds will kick up, and there'll be quite a cold shot dropping from north to south into the mid-Atlantic region, the northeast U.S. And then there'll be another Clipper system right here, a kind of a fast-moving system by Thursday morning. Could end up, we'll go out a little farther in time, could throw some snow shower activity all the way down into eastern part of Pennsylvania during the midday hours, let's say, on Thursday. Meanwhile, some snow over those higher elevation interior locations across the Pacific Northwest, and rain coastal sections from Washington and Oregon all the way down to Northern California. This does not appear to have an impact on Southern California, this particular system. Now, let's move forward into the upcoming weekend, and we have quite a healthy storm system that will form. Here we go all the way out to Saturday evening. It is at this time where there could in fact be some severe weather down across the deep south. This will be an intensifying surface low. Very strong upper level support will aid in the intensification of the surface low pressure system. And again, possibility late Saturday night for some severe weather down in this part of the nation, the deep south, even the Tennessee Valley will go out a little bit farther in time. This storm system takes certainly an inland track well to the north and west of I-95, for an example, moves up into the Midwest region by Sunday morning. Now, there's enough cold air on its cold flank here in the north and west of the surface low for some accumulating snow, potentially from Missouri across Illinois and all the way into Michigan late in the upcoming weekend. And notice the isobar pattern here along the eastern seaboard, and this is a mild surge of air will come rushing up along the Atlantic seaboard. We're probably talking about high temperatures of 60 degrees on Sunday. Places like D.C., maybe even Philadelphia and New York City as well, near 60 degrees with strong winds. And we'll watch here in a moment here, heavy rain should push into the Mid-Atlantic region, northeast U.S. This is a forecast map for Sunday evening, and there is indeed a strong cold frontal system right in this particular position as of Sunday evening. Strong thunderstorms can make their way to the eastern seaboard as well late Sunday, Sunday night, and again all the way from Missouri across Illinois into Michigan. We can have some significant accumulating snow in the cold flank of this storm to its north and west, but all those milder temperatures will push their way all the way up along the New England coastline out ahead of this system. Let's go out a little bit farther in time here now into Sunday evening, and certainly there can be some heavy rainfall at this particular time across the northeastern part of the nation, and by the time we get to Monday morning, that surface low moves all the way into the southeastern part of Canada, and there'll be quite a strong flow of northwesterly winds here pushing in colder air into the Mid-Atlantic region, northeast U.S. And go out a little bit farther in time. Something we'll have to watch for later next week is a storm system that may form down across the southeastern states and push up awfully close or maybe even right along the east coast. This is all the way out to next Wednesday morning. Something we'll have to monitor here over the next several days, because there'll be a decent amount of cold air following that weekend system that pushes into the Mid-Atlantic northeast U.S. for the first half of next week, and this is a system that will be a close call with, again, a decent amount of cold air to its north and west. Right now, this particular model run has it pretty far to the south and east of the Mid-Atlantic region and moving away, but that's too close for comfort. It's many, many days away, and something we'll monitor over the next several days. So a lot going on. We'll continue to take a look at El Nino as it unfolds as we head into the winter season. It will play a big role. Again, all indications are it is indeed shifting from more of an eastern-based El Nino or a hybrid type of El Nino to more of a centrally based El Nino, and it should weaken during the second half of the winter season going into the spring. I expect a complete flip by, let's say, late spring into next summer to back to La Nina conditions, and that, by the way, could lead to a very active hurricane season in the Atlantic basin. So big time winter storm impacting much of the eastern half of the nation this week. And that's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, this has been meteorologist Paul Dorian.